Unseen consequences of Majora. This is a very speculative thing, just that since if you assume that Termina is much bigger than what you just see in the game, and that Majora has been unleashing wrath before you start there as Link, it's just that there could have been many other victims of Majora that you just never see or get to help. Starting area that's technically not in Termina yet. This has always been very fascinating to me, and I've always wondered about this place, this dark woods and hallways and everything that you start the game in, and I believe it's the only case in a Zelda game where it's a place that you can never return to after you've passed it. And, I just wonder where this is exactly, if this is Hyrule, and the woods are the Lost Woods, somewhere super deep in there. Just where is this exactly? It's such a mysterious and almost kind of freaky place, and I wonder how Link eventually ended up out here and just how long it took to get out here, and where does Terminus start and where does Hyrule end? Is it that giant cliff that Link falls down, or is it that weird warpy spot that we'll talk about in a couple of minutes? It's always just been such a fascinating case to me, again, especially since you can never come back here after you've played it on your file. The gap between dimensions and Sabora and Gabora meeting Phantom Ganon. I'm going to lump these two entries together because they both kind of go with one another. The gap between dimensions is a very rarely mentioned place in Zelda, and it's even less talked about, although there is a popular theory with this, being that Phantom Ganon in Ocarina, after you beat him, you hear Ganondorf talk, and he's like, "Oh, useless piece of shit, I'm gonna banish you into the gap between dimensions." Now, what's another game that's canon that Phantom Ganon appears in? Wind Waker. He looks totally different there, but that's besides the point. Now, his sword has Hyrulean text on it, but if this is translated, it says Sabora and Gabora on it. You know, the two Smithies and Majora's Mask. So it's believed that Ganondorf was banished into the gap between dimensions, Phantom Ganon that is, and he ended up in Termina because of it. He met these two, got a sword forged by them. I don't know how they felt about talking about ghosts, but hey, there's all kinds of weirdos in Termina, so why not? And eventually Ganondorf was able to, Phantom Ganon was able to make it back into the Wind Waker timeline, and there's whole entire other examples of the gap possibly appearing in other games, but we're not going to get into those. But, that weird, twisty, warpy hallway as you're entering the tower at the start of the game that we were just talking about, it's believed it's possible that this is like this because it's another example of Link crossing into the gap between dimensions and going from Hyrule to Termina. How Skull Kid got to Termina, speaking of, this is another speculatory thing, just kind of wonder about, because, we see Link get to Termina, but what was Skull Kid doing around there in the first place? We see it established in his backstory that he was already there in Termina before Link arrived, before he acquired Majora's Mask. And it's not like, oh, well, maybe this is Skull Kid's Termina counterpart. No, because it's very clearly established that this is the same Skull Kid from Ocarina of Time who you meet in the Lost Woods and teach Saria's song to and give the Skull Mask to. They mention it at the end of the game. So how did he end up here? Did he just wander off for a very long time like Link for whatever reason? He found this supposed mysterious spot in the Lost Woods deep within there that leads you to the gap between dimensions that brings you to Termina. He just got lost there and made the most of it. It makes sense why he was so lonely and crying, because he wasn't around his friends Link or anyone anymore. And yeah, I guess that almost weirdly just kind of could explain it. And I don't know, it's such a weird and mysterious thing to think about, how there's just this area somewhere within the woods of Hyrule near Kokiri, and freaking get lost and stumble enough in their arcane time, maybe you'll eventually find the gap between dimensions. Every copy's personalized junk. Lilat Space. Well, this was accidentally timely to talk about. Anyways, this has to do with Star Fox being within the same world as Zelda, or at least Termina. I don't know, maybe it's the Termina counterpart of Lilat, and a lot of people seem to just naturally accept that all the Nintendo franchises take place in the same whole wide world universe. Anyway, in the first game, there's this infamous Easter egg or secret where if you go through enough of these warp points on the stage, then this weird, creepy ass asteroid thing will appear that's smiling and has a face, and it's very weird early Star Fox stuff. And you shoot it, and you get to the secret warp zone area, and there's a whole entire weird like swamp machine boss in that end. And anyway, as you can probably connect, this thing has a resemblance to the moon from Majora's Mask. This has led people to think maybe it's the same thing. I don't think it is, but maybe it's just the same kind of thing. And so, this just makes me think that, like, when you're playing Majora's Mask and looking up at the sky and the stars at night, not only do you see that infamous red star, but you're technically looking up way into space, and Lilat is out there somewhere with Fox McCloud flying around and fighting dinosaurs and robots and all that stuff that he does. That's real cool. And like, yeah, I mean, some of those stars could just be a part of the Lilat system. I mean, who's to say? Maybe one of them is Sector C. Maybe that's what the red star is the whole time. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time the franchise's crossover of the R-Wing being in Ocarina's files, and then in this game there's that supposed Easter egg where the mask line up to form the members of Star Fox. So yeah. Anyway, that does it for this weird iceberg. It was kind of cursed, but thank you for sticking through anyways, even if it was kind of rushed. See you next time.